back to Millennial Thoughts with your girl Alicia. Today we have some special guests in the building. This is our last episode of the season. Don't cry, don't be sad. We're coming back. So today we have with me Josh and Kat. I'm so excited. Say hey, y'all.
Hi, everyone.
These are actually Josh, I know him from U of L. That's where I went to school at. Kat, I know her from Facebook. You know, I love online networking, and I met her through some Facebook groups, and she's also a fellow YouTuber. So, you know, support where you can support at. And we're going to be talking about relationships and society standards, and we have a big announcement at the end. So stay tuned. So, how are y'all doing today? How's life?
So life is great right now. Just got finished editing a YouTube video, so I'm excited to drop that. But yeah, that's how everything has been going right now for me in the morning.
I'm doing great as well.
What about you? That's what I'm talking about.
I wish we were out of this quarantine, though.
I know. I was going to say, how was quarantine going for y'all? I'm in the house, okay?
Me too.
I am too, and I'm not going out until something is done, okay?
Period. Like, yeah, they be out. I know, I understand, like, everything going on, like, in society, like, people getting killed and stuff like that, whatever. They be out there, but I'm like, where's the mask?
Right.
Where's the mask? Hold up now. Y'all be up outside. I'm going to be up inside.
Okay.
I'm going to be, cheering for you, but, it's okay. But, yes. So, I'm so excited to do this episode because I feel like relationships is, like, a good thing to talk about, even like life as a millennial and adulting and different things like that. I know there's like so many different things. It could be from like online dating to just standards and society standards and different things like that. And this actually came about. Well, I've been wanting to do it, but it came about because I seen a tweet on Facebook from a fellow person, and me and Josh was commenting on it, and it was talking about like women making more than men. And like, I guess how that goes and how that is perceived in society. And if like you would want your man to make more than you, or if you would want your woman to make more than you. So I guess we can just like start off with that question and then we can, keep going. So Kat, how would you feel if your husband if you made more money than your husband?
How would I feel? I honestly would be okay with it. I think at the end of the day, when it comes to like relationships or like who you end up getting married to, it's all about like how you both come together and dictate how you want to do things. So if I make more money, then I'm fine with it. Just know that I don't mind, taking on some things, and he has to be okay with taking on some other things. So for me personally, I'll be fine with it. I don't have a problem with it.
And so can you break down what are some of the things, like what would he have to be okay with, like doing more work
at home? So have to be okay with doing more work at home. So if I am going to be the one making more money, and this might sound bad to some people, but if I'm just keeping it real. Like if I am going to be at work all the time, then he has to be okay with being able to either clean the house or do what. And I know it could sound different vice versa, but that's honestly how I feel.
But what if he's also working 9 to 5 as well? And I'm not like attacking you, I'm just asking you, like, what if y'all both work 9 to 5? Just because he gets paid less, he has to do more of the chores, I guess?
Dang, that's a good one. Because that's a good one, though. Yeah, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it really doesn't, like, it shouldn't really matter. Yeah, it shouldn't really matter. It shouldn't at all. Thank you for checking on me on that.
No, I was just really just asking. I just wanted to see you say.
No, I understand. Like, and it's funny that
because I just know if he make more money than me and we work in the same time, I'm sorry, he'd be like, "You got clean house." Hold on, boy, we both work 9 to 5.
Yeah, no, you're so right.
You already know, like I work too, and I'm not coming home and cleaning, and I'm not coming home to do that. But if I work at home, I see where it's staying, but I still be like, boy, I work from home. You better go somewhere.
No, you're completely right.
That's why I was asking you. That's why I was asking you that, like, not to say that he doesn't work. He just
gotcha. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
clarify
like
that
does
way.
that mean that he still has to clean as much? And that's why I say that my man needs to make more than me, period. Okay. Because I got a bad mouth. And maybe the Lord is still
I'm
working with me.
dead.
Okay. But Josh, what about you? How do you feel about your woman making more than you?
I couldn't care less, either way. I mean, if I made more, great. She made more, great. Because there's so many different jobs. There's so many different ways to make money, right? If like right now I'm a teacher, so there's a lot of jobs that make more than a teacher. Which I won't be a teacher, coming the next couple
You
years.
better let him know because my boy about to get his PhD.
Okay.
Yes,
Amazing.
but
Okay, PhD before 30. Y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all.
But for now, I'm a teacher, and if I was gonna be a teacher for the next,
But for now.
however many years, there's a pretty good chance that anyone working in like business or an entrepreneur or a lot of different or doctor or a lot of different fields that we look upon positively, they'd make more money. And I'm not going to say no, I'm not going to marry a doctor because they make significantly more money. That's silly to me.
That's silly to you. But you're about to get a doctorate. What they say, you're about to get a doctorate. No, you're about to get a doctorate. They say that you can get paid more, but you honestly don't know what the job market and everything like that. You never know what can happen.
Right.
It
depends.
So, yes. And so, yeah, like speaking from a male's perspective, I just wanted to get that because the whole conversation was like men sometimes feel like inferior. They feel like less than, I guess, like if they do make less than their woman.
A lot still do.
Yeah. And so like just speaking on that, I think that's really how the conversation came up through and like how men should not feel like that. Like I feel like they should be like, oh yes, my woman out there, like, shoot, I need to get out there too. Like, don't let the I guess like society standards or don't let that make you feel less than. But also I feel like that should want you to I feel like that should help you want to step up a little bit more to like get your money or do this and do that. And sometimes I feel like men are they feel like less powerful if the woman is like about her business, got her business, doing this, doing that. Like they won't even approach someone like that. Or but even if they're with someone, like they try to hold them back. And I ain't for that. I'm for my sisters uniting. Okay.
I think it depends.
And so,
I think it depends on like the type of person too. I mean, I think it can happen at any level of like your economic status, but I think that's a trend more for. This might sound bad. I think like if you're a guy and you make over $100,000, I feel like you're not worried about if your wife makes like if you make 150. I don't think you're worried that your wife makes 200. I think this is more of in general. I think this feels like more of a problem if you personally don't have a job that you're really proud of or money that you're really proud of. Because I don't know. I just feel like if you're a doctor and your wife happens to be a CEO, I don't think the doctor is going to feel like less than. Does that make sense? Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Definitely does. Yeah, he probably wouldn't even care too much because at the end of the day, he's still making bread. So.
And okay, but that's if like the man you're talking about. You said if the doctor's a man, if the man's a doctor and his wife's a CEO.
Well, I'm saying like basically if a guy has a career that he feels comfortable in, whether it's because of the money or because of prestige, and his wife happens to make more money, I feel like that wouldn't be a thing that would trip him up. However, if he's not really confident what he's doing, I don't want to call out any careers, so I don't want to insult anybody. But if you're doing a career,
you're like you ain't comfortable being
right. But like if you're doing something that I don't know, you can imagine something that you wouldn't be proud to be doing.
Even like the teacher, like teachers don't get paid that much. But if you're passionate about it and you love about it, you might not be that bad about it.
Exactly.
Teachers don't get paid that much. So
exactly.
Ain't no shade to the teachers.
That is so true. It's all about like your person and how you feel about what you're doing. You know what I mean? And it's again just going back with that. It's like if you're unhappy with the job that you have and you see your wife is, either happy or is making a lot more money, then you're going to feel a certain type of way about something. So.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is be happy in what your career is.
Right.
Okay. Find a career that you're going to be happy in. Don't do nothing that you're not going to be happy in, because you cannot be projecting them feelings to your significant other. Okay. Boom. And so yeah, I know, because that gets like a lot of I see like a lot of people talking about it, or like in society, and now like men are becoming like stay-at-home dads and like that, because like the women, they do kind of sometimes have the better jobs, like if they're lawyers, judges, doctors, whatever they are. And so I just thought that was like a really interesting point in seeing like how the like roles can reverse. Because I know that stay-at-home moms, they be like if people want to be a stay-at-home mom, it's like, oh, you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom or whatever. Or like sometimes the husband doesn't even understand like what stay-at-home moms do. I ain't got no children, but I do know that children are a lot. And so it's like they don't think that they're doing anything. But when roles reverse, baby, the dudes act like they're just on like PBJ. Boy, wait. You can't feed your kids. Like I'm so confused. And so I just think that that's so interesting. Like, y'all, like, people want women to be like the wife. Well, I mean, you're like the wife, the mom, the career woman. But like when women come, like when people come home from work and they gotta take care of kids, like, and you lose yourself basically. So it's like, okay, now I gotta feed the kids. I gotta come home after a long day work. I gotta take care of the kids. I gotta do that. And then the dude be playing too. Right. Oh, hey, what? And also, I ain't really trying to bash the men, but women, y'all need to. But I feel like women, they like, y'all need to expect more from these men, and they need to be able to provide something. Like, shoot, if they ain't providing financially, they need to be providing somewhere else, spiritually. Shoot, something else, taking care of the kids, doing something. And I just feel like a lot of women get trapped into like women. I feel like I don't want to say like more headstrong, but I feel like sometimes they do more, like, I don't know if it's just like you want to do more of like, they have all these dreams and goals and stuff like that, and then it like lacks because maybe like, I mean, whoever's in their corner, different like that, or like they do have kids, so it's hard to really balance it and stuff like that. And I feel like that they should be able to pick people who can balance what they want to do. And so that goes into like who you pick and different things like that. And so yeah, I think that like I think that comes from like a different part of the society, but like picking people who will be able to help you and not bring you down. Do y'all see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like like in this generation, you know, millennials and different things like that, I just feel like sometimes I just don't know if everybody's up to par with who they picking. I don't know. Y'all let me know how y'all think about that.
I do.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I mean, you know, when it comes to like picking someone who you're going to end up with, I mean, I think everyone has a different idea when they go into it. Some people, you know, they're going into it thinking, you know, there's a certain way they expect to feel. Right, that's like there's a feeling that when they feel a certain way, that tells them that they're with the right person. And then I think for other people, they're looking at someone and they're saying, you know, who is my equal, I guess. You know, so I mean, I think people come in with different expectations of what it means to have a partner. And I don't know if there's a right way to do it or a wrong way to do it, but I think it just depends on your approach. You know, like again, like some people, you know, you've seen like the TV shows or the movies where the person says, you know, I know this person, you know, isn't the right one, but it's the one that feels right or whatever. And I think that's real. I think people live that way. Like they're waiting for the feeling. And then there's other people who are thinking through it and they're thinking, who does it make sense for me to be with, I guess.
And what about you, Kat? I don't know if you have something to say.
I think I want to just go back with what you said earlier, that a lot of times women just end up settling into relationships. And sometimes they are kind of like either sold a dream. And the only reason why I say that is because I know from past experience or people that I have, you know, friends and stuff like that, sometimes we just end up getting into a relationship, everything looks good in the beginning, and then next thing, things starts crumbling, and then now you have kids, and now you have this, and so you end up settling with that person just because, you know, just a lot of other society things going on. Like, you don't want to be that single mother, you don't want to do this and that, don't want to be a will see and stuff like that. So I think a lot of the times when it comes to relationship from a woman's perspective, or just women's in general, like women ends up settling in a lot of relationships.
Yes, that brings you to another point. So I was on Facebook and it like had this meme, and it was like it was like women need to start being okay with leaving people for the first mistake, you know? Like I feel like other generations, I feel like they did the struggle up, but it was some type of different. It was like, okay, like he cheated on you, he did this on you, but like you still have a home to take care of, like you still have a home, you still have this and that or whatever. And so it's like normalize women leaving after the first mistake, because like then you get into this struggle of, and I just feel like even being young and stuff like that, like you always see this in being older. I don't want to be in no struggle of, but I feel like from the last generation it kind of came through, because it's like, okay, well now men, like they taking care of you, they're doing this or whatever, so it's okay if they cheat, like it's okay if they just like what? No ma'am, no way. And I feel like now it's like struggle of, it's like, oh, I've been with him for like 5 years. Okay, girl, you 20. Yeah, what, you 20? You got 50 more years. You want to struggle for the next 50 years?
Right.
Girl, bye-bye. And I just feel like women give men too many chances. And also, this is what I believe. I don't know. I believe having kids after you're married, and I'm not saying that makes it perfect, but like I feel like you should watch men. And I will give you yours. I'll tell you time, Josh, because I know it's ready to go. But like women, like I feel like you just can't have a kid by anybody. And I feel like sometimes how you're saying, like you get sold this dream, like, yeah, girl, I'm gonna take care of you. Yeah, you're gonna be my baby. Yeah, girl. And then you had a baby, and boom, where he go? Oh, dang, it's a ghost. Casper, where he at? Like what? And so I feel like sometimes, and then that goes into the struggle. Then it's like the single mom, and then like the poverty. It's like unless you're like doing good. I'm not saying that this is everybody's thing, but I'm saying like the way that it goes about and stuff happens, and like even the struggle of like if he don't show you one time that he ain't accountable for his action, girl, leave him to the next girl, and she need to leave him too. Okay, like struggle. Like I don't have time to be struggling, being like, oh yeah, he coming. He coming out your house and he don't pay no bill. Oh baby, ain't nobody supposed to be in my house and don't pay no bill. Oh no. You be having the women paying the bills, and he be cheating, having other girls come in the car, and he don't got no car. Oh no, I'm not saying this for everybody, but I just really feel real passionate about this, and I wanted to talk about it. I was like, this is the perfect time on my podcast, because like I watch YouTube, you know, so I watch YouTube and like girls talking about heartbreaks, and it'd be these young girls, and it's like somehow like the young girls like be having business, be entrepreneur. I ain't seen one boy have an entrepreneurship video on YouTube, but I see all these girls and like the out there, they're go-getters, they're this, and then the dudes be like, yeah, girl, I'm you go what? I don't need nothing of that. I don't know what that is. Sounds like a dream. And so I just feel like I really feel passionate about that. Like girls always getting played, and like, and then they get played, and they get played over again and get played over. Like, how many times you gonna let this dude play you? And he don't got nothing going for him. They say like you messing with people that don't have nothing to lose. He ain't got nothing to lose because he ain't got nothing.
That's so true, but at the same time, like some people are literally get stuck in a relationship, and there's like a lot that goes on. There's a lot of that's going on, like especially when you're in a relationship, you really truly feel like this person might be the one for you, so you fall into this trap of always giving them a chance over and over again. So for me, yeah, go ahead.
And so, what'd you say? Oh no, like, and so I was asking like, so how do you get stuck? And so I'm saying like, do you know like, or do you have advice on like how maybe you can get unstuck?
I don't know. I'll get back to you on that.
That's fine. I'm just asking. I'm really just asking. I don't want to.
No, not at all. It's just more of like, dang, like you're asking me a question that I've never thought of just like, you know what I mean? Of how to get unstuck. But like, I definitely agree with you. Just as soon as people like start showing you their red, they start showing you like leave.
Colors.
But the thing is, like, some people are really good at hiding things. Like people can hide things for a whole year or two. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a tricky situation because you can get stuck, right? And someone can show you who they are for a whole year. And next thing you know, they have a whole nother wife, a whole nother family.
Girls, so good at hiding it. If y'all have not watched Judgment, if y'all have not watched Judge Lynn Toler, y'all need to watch her on YouTube. I watch all her videos. She says watch him. I need to see how you are when you get mad, when you get angry, when you get sad. I need to be watching you for 4 seasons because you might have something happen in this summer season or even death. Like, you have to watch people, and that's why I guess I get so passionate, because people will have a baby with somebody in 5 months. What? 5 months? Girl, that's not even a semester. It is a semester, but 5 months. Like, what? Y'all just out here having babies, and babies bring on a whole nother relationship. And if y'all watch YouTube, like I say, or whatever, these young couples be having babies, and they 20 years old, and then next thing they know, they single mothers and single fathers because they don't even know themselves, and they be having babies with people. Not saying that if you have babies young, like, it's not a good thing or a bad thing. Like, yeah, babies can be blessings, but I'm just saying, like, just keep yourself to know yourself before you start having some other selves, babies. And I guess I just get so passionate about that. Because yes. Oh my gosh, this is why I gotta.
Why is that? Is Josh gonna be able to say something?
Josh will get a minute. That's why I said DeMarcus needs to be on here. This is edited out. Oh, my mom has the phone. What? That's why I said DeMarcus needs to be on here, because he gonna be one down, and he already know how I roll.
Well, it's funny. I actually kind of agree with most of what you're saying. I honestly think the way we kind of do relationships kind of contributes to it. I mean, I feel like there's 2 styles that people use. It's like either it's like this undefined kind of forever shit where people are just like together for a long time, but they're not really sure how they're together, which leads, it has its own problems. Or there's the people who go super hard really fast. They, like you said, they have a baby really fast, or they move in together really fast and things like that. And I read this like study, and it was talking about people who like move in together. And I know a lot of people nowadays feel like you have to do that first. Like, you need to move in together before you ever get married. And there's probably benefits to that and downfalls. But one thing I saw is that, some of the researchers saw that people in their first year, if they moved in together first, they did stay together. They were more likely to stay together their first year. But after that, they had higher rates of divorce. And one of the things that the researchers kind of suggested, they thought, is that basically the faster you tie your lives together, the harder it is to leave. If you move in together and you're splitting bills together,
yeah, you can't do.
It's a lot harder to say, I'm done. It's not as simple as, that you gotta go through a whole process. Same thing if you have a kid. Same thing if you entangle, if you move to a different state together. Like, the more serious you get, the harder it is to leave. And I think there's got to be some kind of balance between the forever unlabeled relationship and the we're moving in together after a week.
Okay, so I took this marriage and family therapy class my junior year, and so it was talking about the like cohabitating, and like versus being married and not cohabitating before. And then sometimes that's why I was like, people need to know their standards, because like I seen that when you whatever I don't want to say like I seen it, but like whatever the what is it called? The research, whatever. Like when some people cohabitate, like they stay together longer sometimes, but like that doesn't lead to marriage, And if you want to get married, if you want to do that, like it's just like saying like set your standards, because you can cohabitate, right? But like then that like saying like don't buy the milk before the cow, but don't just bump all that stuff. You ain't about to be getting all my stuff, all my money. No. What?
Well, some of the research I said, was reading. Well, for one, let me just say, I think everything's individual. I mean, there's an exception to every rule, and there's nothing to say that there's a right way to do it. So let me just preface it with that. But another thing that the researchers were talking about, looking at the different studies, is that, typically the people who have the worst marriage outcomes are people in the lower socioeconomic bracket. I mean, I think a lot of life comes down to money, but we won't. I guess that's another podcast.
That's a whole other story.
What it was talking about, one of the things it was talking about was options. Basically, people are getting married later if but that's for the
Mhm.
middle and upper class, right? They're getting married later. They're being more selective. They're marrying people who are on their academic and economic level, and
Mhm.
people aren't really, they're not marrying across socioeconomic status very often, and that leaves people who are, lower class, who have to or who want to um, cohabitate sooner, whether that's to combine, paychecks, whether it's because,
Mhm.
that typically, that group tends to end up having more pregnancies and things like that. I think a lot of it's just options. If you have the option to marry a doctor and wait and, do it at a certain speed, and, you don't have to rush, like you're fine on your own. I think that gives you more options to go a little slower, opposed to someone who, um, doesn't have that kind of freedom. They feel like they need to move faster. They don't have the support networks that, what more well-off people have. They don't have the educational resources, or they don't have the community health center that's teaching them things or giving them resources to prevent, um, you know, pregnancies and stuff like that. So I think a lot of it's options. I don't.
And yes, so when you're talking about options, are you talking about the option to wait to have a kid, or the option to wait to figure out who you want to marry?
I'm
Is that
talking
what you're
about.
talking about when
I'm
you say
talking about
options?
everything. I mean, if so, for example, if you're highly educated, you make good money, and you're fine as an individual, you have options. For
Mm-hmm.
one, you're an attractive option to pretty much everybody. So you have your pick of who you want, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You are attracted to yourself, right? You can be self-sustaining, so you have time to be picky. You know, you have the options if to move around the country, to you just have more choice. You
Mm-hmm.
can travel, you can see
More
things.
like
Yes,
access, like to different
access to everything.
things.
Whereas if you're, typically if you're lower socioeconomic status, you typically live where you lived forever. That's I don't even mean that as a bad thing, but you live where you live forever. You know who you've known forever, and
Mm-hmm.
those are your options. I mean, and
Mm.
again, it could be great options right there next door, right? It could be great. And I don't think that money equates to a better relationship. I think it just gives you options
Mm-hmm.
to not settle.
Mm. That makes sense. And then settling, so like men and women, like both of them shouldn't settle. You shouldn't have to do the struggle of, like, you should be able to find someone that's, like, I guess in your caliber. That even sounds high, but like find someone like who's even maybe like motivated like you, or like has that motivation to do more like you, and just like trying to find that equal partnership
Yeah, I think you need to have the
with
same
what you want to
values.
do. Values, that is a great word. No, they don't have the same values as you. No, no. But yes, I think that's good about that part. And I just feel like in society, like, it's just so hard. And then I feel like sometimes, okay, here's one thing that I do feel like. I feel like we're black, we're black. When black men go with white women, I don't feel like they're as um like, I guess people, like, as talked about as like when black women go for white men. I feel like that's a bigger issue too. Like, and it's like, well, the black women, of course, we know everything that goes on with black women and something like that. But like, it's like black women like dating outside your race and different things like that. I feel like that's another thing. Like, people are like, you should be with a black man, like you should be with a black woman, stuff like that. But like, black men have been with these white women forever, and they don't really get too much. And as soon as a black woman gets with a white man, then she's like, whatever they say
I
she is,
disagree with that. I think there are people who I think different people. I think people have their opinions on like interracial relationships, and I think the people who have negative opinions have it pretty strong, regardless of gender. I think people,
Mm.
every NFL draft, Twitter's gonna trend about the NFL players that have white girlfriends. It could be two of them, it could
Mhm.
be 10 of them. It's gonna trend, and they're gonna talk about it,
Mhm.
and they're going to be upset about it, and then and they're going to talk about how they're gold digging and different stuff like that. I think that happens a lot. I just think I think it so I think it happens both sides. I don't think it's really a gendered thing. I think it's if you are
A race
Well,
thing.
yeah, I think like if you're against it, you're against it, and I don't think it matters
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a black or whether it's a guy or a girl.
Oh well, no, I do understand if you're against it or against it, but I just say like, well, even when I like see stuff on Twitter, when I see stuff like black women's like a savior, like they don't want to protect black men or they don't want to be with black men, which black men have been with white women forever. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing in a sense, with the climate, but I feel like people are used to it. In a sense, that's what I was trying to say. People are used to it, so like, yeah, they may say something or whatever now. But now that black women are dating more outside of their race because maybe they can't find the black men that they're looking for, I feel like now everybody's like, no, black women, like you should be with a black man, you should be with a black man, you should be with a black man. Well, where they at? That's what I guess I was saying when I was comparing the two. That's what I was talking about. But yeah, so I just was like, I don't know about that one. But yeah, so that's really what I think. I don't know how y'all think about relationships in society and the standards and whatnot. So yeah,
I was just gonna
anybody
say,
else
like,
have
at the end
any
of the day, it's really about like who you love,
any comments?
honestly. And I guess going back to what Joshua was saying, it's all about like values and going into a relationship and making sure that you guys are on the same level of how you want the relationship to be. There's definitely nothing wrong with interracial relationships. Yeah, honestly.
And Josh, did I let you get enough for the men's side, or you got some more to
Well,
say?
I think it's just one of those things that, you know, I understand. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, men in general have not been the best for, you know, for a while. But I think, you know, I think everyone has their, you know, their flaws in relationships, and I think it's a good thing that there's been more equality coming to the surface, and there's been more of a trend towards, you know, equal partnership. I think that's going to help everybody. I think, you know, I think power dynamics aren't good. I think if one group has significantly more power than another, then bad things are going to just happen naturally. I think that's just how it works. So I think the sooner we get everyone on the same playing field, whether that's men and women or whatever, the better. So that's why I like with the money thing that we talked about at the very beginning. You know, I think, you know, it's not, you know, you don't have to marry someone with the same amount of money, but I don't think it hurts. And I think, you know, more women being financially sound and stable is going to be good for everybody because it gives people options.
Them an option.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, it's an option you don't feel like stuck. And I want to say that I'm not saying that I'm not saying that all men are bad. I'm not saying that all women are good. Okay, there do be some trifling women. Not saying that there don't be. There are some good men. I don't know if I see them too much, but I'm just playing.
They're there.
But,
they're there.
They're there.
They're there.
Point them out. But I don't, because I know women can be like that too, but I'm just talking about, I guess, like my experience and like what I've seen and different things like that. I just feel like women sometimes measure up more than the men, or they're not even held to the same standards, and that can go to another conversation like childhood and stuff like that. And I just feel like men, like they just I guess like they're just more free and to do whatever they want, but it's like women have to feel like they're all put together and stuff like that. And so that's what I guess that's where my I guess like my ideas, or not my ideas, like where my point of view or like my perspective is coming from. So yeah, that's all that I had to say about that. But I thank y'all for coming on here and chatting that with me. I thank y'all for coming and talk. This is the last episode of the season, and thank y'all so much. And we'll be back July. I think it's July 3rd or July 4th, whatever that first Thursday is. In July, and there'll be a money season. We'll be talking about saving. We'll be talking about spending, investing, and trying to get our money right. Okay. And if y'all would like, please follow us on Instagram at Millennial Thoughts Pod, so y'all can know and keep up with us when the new episodes drop. If y'all can leave us a rating on iTunes, Apple's, wherever your favorite places that you listen to it. And while you're waiting, catch up on our other episodes. And that's one of the announcements. And the biggest announcement too is we have a
Yay.
co-host, and it's Kat.
I'm excited to talk about Buddy.
So excited. Yes, I'm having a co-host next season. I'm so excited because I've been doing these interview things or whatever. But we will have interviews from people, and it'll be me and Kat. We'll be talking about money, all things money next season. And so just make sure you stay tuned and join the conversations. Like us on Facebook as well. You can follow us on Twitter, but Instagram is where you're going to be able to hear and see all the things that are going on. Hashtag Millennial Thoughts Pod, so we can see what y'all are saying. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, morning, whenever you listen to this. And thank you for listening and staying up with this season. It's been a long season. I'd like to thank my guests for coming on. This has been fun. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. Thank y'all so much. I'll cut that part out or whatever. But thank y'all so much for coming up on here. I hope y'all had fun.
I did. It was a good time.
Hope y'all enjoyed it. And Josh is coming back again.
I don't feel like I took too many body blows, so that's good.
Yeah, no. And Josh is coming on again to talk about paying off debt for our next season. Yeah. And DeMarcus is coming on, but we're going to see because he's on a trial and error right now.
I would love to hear about paying off debt. I am still stuck in debt. Ooh.
It's been I've been trying to get rid of it because I can't stand it.
Oh, I am literally cracking up, but yeah. So and I ain't even started paying on that, and I can't work because it's gonna be right there looking at me. And I figured that I'm figuring out. Well, this lady, have you heard the Budgetnista, John?
The who?
The Budgetnista.
No.
Well, she was saying that like just because you're debt free doesn't mean that you're financially free. And so I do be on Facebook just talking or whatever. But one thing, it was like, don't be asking people for direction who ain't been there. I was
my gosh.
So why am I asking them? But I just talk to talk. I save money, but I'm like, just because I paid off debt, just because I paid off debt does not mean I'm financially free. Like I could still save for my millionaire status. And then DeMarcus gonna be like, he was like, but what is it to be a millionaire and to be debt free? I'm a millionaire in debt. I'm like, period. I'm still a millionaire. Like they talking about you don't want the debt, but I'm still a millionaire. So
it's all about that balance, like we were like with the relationship stuff, because again, if it's better to if you're a millionaire and you have $60,000 in debt, that's better than being than having than having $60,000 and having no debt.
And but even having even not being a millionaire and still being $60,000. Okay, I have the money to pay it off, but no, I don't want to pay
right.
it.
I mean, it's just about being smart about it.
And then she was saying that she made enough money that she was able to write one check for the $60,000. So I was like, boom, that's even great.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. I paid a lot of loans, like for the private loans to get rid of those. Like that's what I did. I did more than the minimum. But then when I had it, I would do some lump sum payments, and that's what really knocked it out. It's it's the lump sum payments. But I waited till I had it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was like, I could just wait till I have the $60,000 and boop, write a check. Alicia's debt free. Bam. But yeah, so I was like, because I'm about to be this millionaire. I don't know how I'm gonna be this millionaire, but I'm